The Gurds live in Klerksdorp, South Africa. Ordinary people with an extraordinary story. Milani has ARVD, a life-threatening condition that slowly destroys her heart. After waiting for 2 years on the transplant list, a heart is found for her.
Ek het so van tussen 1 en 2 het hulle vir my gebel en hulle was nie 100% happy met die donor nie.
If there's no heart available, she will just weaken.
When the family have almost given up hope that another donor would be found, she is given a second chance. A heart transplant saves her life. Her brother, Trevor Jr., is diagnosed with the same disease. He has a rare blood type. Chances of a donor are slim. He has been given only a few weeks left to live when a donor heart is finally found. Trevor lives. A transplant is a gift of life from someone unknown. A gift made by family members while they are grieving a great and sudden loss. A modern miracle made possible by a breathtaking advance in medical science. It all appears straightforward.
People remain enormously emotional about the heart, as opposed to the liver, the kidney and the lungs, and it also evokes a lot more interest. Heart transplantation evokes more interest than any of the other transplanted organs.
Attitudes surrounding the heart and its symbolism often invest heart transplants with greater meaning than the transplant of a cornea or kidneys. It often complicates the emotional responses to the transplant.
Chris Barnard always tried to teach us that the heart was just a pump, but we see the heart as the center of the body, we see it as the emotional center, and we put a lot of extra burden on the heart from that perspective, and therefore we carry a lot of burden in our hearts.
Marguerite Olofse received a new heart 7 years ago.
You know, I don't think that in my mind I have actually processed it yet. You know, in the very, very beginning, when they told me that I'm now on the list to receive a new heart, my focus was on just staying alive up until such time that the perfect donor comes. And when the donor came, it was just like coping with all the new medicine and, you know, coping with reality. I was much more focused in having the new life that I didn't really thought much about the fact that someone died so I could have a life. What did change things a lot was I was lying in bed one night in the hospital, and all of a sudden I felt this heart beating inside me. And I realized, this is not my heart, you know? And I almost had a panic attack. I said to my dad, please take this thing out. I would rather have my whole heart, thank you very much. And he calmed me down, he said, look, you know, you have this possibility of having a full life, so make peace with it and calm down, please. You know. Then I realized actually what really happened. It's quite a thing to deal with, and for up until now, I really didn't actually want to think about it. I completely cut that part out of my life, and all of a sudden, I now at the point where I want to know who this person was, and you know, I just feel like it's now I'm now ready to find out.
And that's showing scuba diving.
There's some sharks there.
Yeah.
I feel her presence. You know, I wouldn't say I've become her. That is definitely not the truth. She's not part of me, but she gave me a second chance. It's like having a good story, but some of the pages are blank. And I think I would not be complete as a person if I don't have that information. There's a small little piece in there inside my being that is blank. And I think I've been denying that part of myself for a very long time. I think it will give me a lot of closure and a lot of peace. I'm desperate to know more about her. I'm still debating whether I would like to see a photo or would not. You know, I'm a bit unsure about that. Maybe, you know. But I just want to know who she was and what she did and what she loved and those kind of things. You know, I want to know about her. I see this tall, blonde woman who's, you know, very self-assured, very determined, very driven, very ambitious, and I see this bubbly, sparkly person who would walk into the room and everybody would look up and just love her for who she was. You know, there were so many days when I was lying in that bed and staring out of the window and thinking, I wish I could just be alive for one day so that I can feel how it feels like. And it's been 6 years now, and words actually cannot really describe how amazingly blessed I feel.
Ja, maar onthou jy my maat moes ek goudgeel tulpe vir my gekoop met daar gestaan het. En ja, en baie keer in die stoel gesit.
Marguerite is here to speak to Dr. Otto Tanning, the surgeon who removed her donor's heart.
I remember just after my heart transplant, I wrote them a letter to say thank you very much, you know, for this gift, you know, and I will take care of my new life and my heart. Just to show them that the decision that they made that day has actually meant, you know, has meant a new life for someone else.
Hello, doctor.
Nice to get in. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you.
As usual.
Thank you so much. Cool.
You get lovely every time.
Thank you.
How's it going?
It's going very well.
And you're going to talk to me today?
Yes.
Go for it.
Well, okay, that's like a quick one on me. Yeah, I don't know what to say though. Basically, I wanna know if it's possible that I could find out more about my donor.
Okay. Obviously, it's always a difficult one, Marguerite. That's a thing that carries a huge amount of emotional issues. Obviously, the donor is not there, but the donor's family are there. They gave a fantastic decision, a very difficult one at the time that they allowed their next of kin to become a donor. And I suppose any time that they have a situation where the agony is revisited, it's hard for them. And as a rule, we don't normally foster that. We don't try and make it possible. We try and keep donor and recipient as far separate as possible. But if there's a very strong reason that you want to do that, there are means of being able to do that. And I think what's very important is that they've got to give the decision openly. And if they do so and you meet, I think it'll give them a lot. It won't give closure, but it'll give them a reason for the fact that they gave a decision like that.
Yeah.
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. Is it possible that you could perhaps speak to them?
I will do so through Helena.
Yeah.
We would approach them and I can do that for you.
Okay.
And if we get permission, then it'll be organised in a way that they consider the best.
Yes.
And then we'll go for it.
Thank you.
All right. It's a big step, but I think it's something worthwhile.
I think so. It's something important to me, you know, and it's, I think the time for it is right.
How many years now?
Almost 7.
Time goes. I remember you as a tiny little girl who didn't really,
Thank you very much.
really want to do much.
Well.
And look at you now. Give that to me too.
Otherwise, you don't have anything.
It's amazing. 7 years and you still feel it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll set the ball going. Obviously, it does take time,
Yeah.
but it'll be done and it'll be done sensibly. It's
in any organ donor program, the basic principle is confidentiality, respecting each other's confidentiality. It's very important. A lot of people don't know what to do with the emotions they're going through. I think a person must give everybody time to see what's happening. Let them just work through the problems that they are associated with somebody passing away and the recipient receiving a heart and going on all this funny medication now, which is completely foreign to the body and causes unbelievable reactions. I think it's important to have an initial period of confidentiality. What that period is will definitely differ from person to person, from situation to situation. Once the recipient family and the donor family has sorted out their emotional ideas, emotional thoughts, and have come to a more comprehensive view of the whole picture. After they've gone through that process, I think there's no problem with the people meeting up and really experiencing the joy that the recipient is going through. But in the case my kids are very young. My daughter was 21. My son is 16 when it happened. They had their transplants. It took a bit of time for them just to work through those ideas. They are much better regarding that than what they were. And I believe that's part of the process.
I think I only stays interesting for that long, eh? And I prefer it that way because when I just came back, all the focus was on me, and I accepted it's going to be that way. But I'm glad it's off me now. They accept me like another kid at school again. I'm treated like every other kid, and that's the way I like it. I don't want to be an exception. Yeah, you get tired of the story for the 100th time you have told it. It's like, oh, here we go again. And so, yeah, but it's okay. If somebody really wants to know, I don't have a problem telling them. I don't feel uncomfortable about it at all. So, yeah.
No, just I'll sit in the back. It's fine. Yes, it is easy to talk about it now. Because it was a big thing at the time, but it's something I kind of almost proud of. It makes me unique, and it's something awesome. Something I should talk about to create awareness for future recipients, for other people who are sick waiting for organs. People should know about this. I don't hide my scar because it's who I am. It makes me unique, and it is a kind of a message to the world. See, I've had a transplant. You can help someone, you can save a life by donating. It's awareness.
Doen het. Gaan koud wees. Gaan baie koud wees. Halleluja. Dames en heren, man, het is koud. Moet ek nou alleen swem?
Wat se?
Niemand sal my kom swem nie. Oei, is jy. Ek doen reg, Chrissy. Maak nog reg, ja man.
Wat, Lena?
In a situation where a person had maybe just received corneas or organs that are not that important, I've seen that people that have received lungs or a liver or a heart, as in the case with my children, there's much more emotion around it because that, actually gave life again. And that is what actually kept the donor alive.
The smallest word that would mean the biggest, I think, is thank you. That's all. Thank you for what you have given. I think that's the biggest word you can say. That's the word with the most meaning behind it. I think so.
No, I do not feel guilty, any guilt towards the donor. He did not die, so I could live. He died, and then I lived. So he made the decision, and his family made the decision. But in a way, it's sad to think about him, but he's my hero. In many ways, him and his family, they are my heroes.
A new life. But the memories of all those years living under the constant threat of death can never be forgotten.
When I see my sister just lying in the bed or in the hospital, she's down and so tired. I can see she struggles very much.
Die stadium is Melanie se toestand sodat sy is ons hoogste prioriteit.
The Girds know better than anybody the anguish when death may be imminent. The fear of losing a loved one. The fight to keep them alive.
Some children didn't even know I have a heart problem. Some of my friends, I didn't tell them. They didn't ask.
Yeah, but we're going to have another one done now.
Without a transplant, his prognosis is poor. You know, he probably has got about a 50% chance of surviving 6 months to a year.
I pray about the condition, but I can't pray for it. No. Because someone else had to lose a child.
I don't think a day will pass that me as a father does not think of the unbelievable brave step they took to make the decision to donate organs.
Give vir Rose 'n bietjie. Rose gaan daar by triewe. Hy gaan vir jou 'n bietjie inskep. You're grateful. You're always grateful, and you think about them almost every day. But it's also painful because you feel a little bit, you know, they've got this heart sore and the grief and everything, and we live with a joy. That's difficult. To know that there's a family in grief, there's a family who's got this terrible loss, and we've got the other side.
Not for a minute did we think we were going to lose him. Not for a minute. Of course, we didn't know how serious it was, you know, not being in the medical field ourselves. Kelly had been trying to get hold of me, and of course we were out. So as soon as I got home, got the message, we flew up to the hospital. And I can tell you what I saw, I wasn't very happy with, but I still didn't think that he wouldn't make it, you know. And then finding that he wasn't going to make it was absolutely heartbreaking. It's been pretty tough. I was actually downtown with my son. We had gone to organise the crematorium and that. And he got a call from the doctor. And he spoke to him, of course, and when he'd finished, he said to me, "Mum, I don't know how we're going to handle this, but that's the specialist, and they are wanting to know whether, you know, any organs will be donated." So I said, "I don't know how we're going to approach that with Kelly. You know, I mean, it's such a tender thing, you know." We waited, and when we got back to the hospital, she came to me and she said to me, "Mummy, I'm going to donate Timmy's organs because that's what he wanted." I didn't know they'd had this conversation a little while prior to this. We thought, well, that's wonderful that this boy felt like that. There he was, thinking of others again.
Not from us.
He had to go for her to live, but it's wonderful that she is living. And we're all very happy about the whole story.
It's not easy to explain the emotions going through the mind of the donor family or the recipient family or the recipients themselves.
We'll have to cut away to
I can only say what I felt is that to us it was very, very difficult. It's something it's something it's very difficult to explain. It's so difficult that you don't even know how to pray about it. It's unbelievably difficult, the emotions.
I think I haven't done that one. Oh, last week. Yes, son, what's this? I
even if it is purely something that's stuck in the back of the mind and would come to the fore at the moment where you are lying in bed before you go to sleep, thinking of that fact that somebody has passed away, but I'm living.
Another one there.
Until that person has understood what really happened. Nothing, medically speaking, could have been done to bring that person back. That person had already passed away. And after that, the donor family has made the brave decision of donating the organs. I believe that most of the recipients eventually work through all these emotions. But losing a loved one, how long does it take you to work through that? Is it 6 months? Is it 6 years? Nobody knows. It differs with every situation from person to person.
Revisiting Cape Town, Marguerite looked up Erika Klokker, who owns a guest house close to the hospital. Here she stayed several months, first waiting for a heart and then recovering after her transplant. They have formed a close bond.
It came at a very, almost a God-sent opportunity because our son had died in May, and it helped us to get through a lot of, or to work through a lot of emotions to be able to help you. So
For me, it's incredible.
Her joy has made their loss easier to bear and helped reconcile them to their son's death.
There's a reason why somebody died 6 years ago and I received that person's heart and I got a second chance to live a life that I always wanted to live. There's a reason for me being alive so that I can bring hope to people.
For free.
That's why I'm here.
That's very well.
For somebody to give permission for a person, a next of kin, to become a donor is a very personal decision and a very difficult decision.
So there's Old Table Mountain again.
I think everybody is curious. Certainly if I had received an organ from somebody, I would be very curious to know, what happened to them, what were they like. And I think it's got to be handled very sensitively.
Yeah. I just want to know who she is. Because it's such an emotional thing to deal with, they really actually don't tell you much. They did tell me that she was 24 when she died. She was a girl, a blonde, beautiful, amazing person. So that's what I know.
Sharon was such a bubbly person, amazing personality. When she walked into a room, the whole room lit up. She was generous, she was kind, she had a wonderful, wicked sense of humour, and she got along with everybody. She and Lisa, her sister, had an amazing relationship together.
She was a beautiful girl, but not only beautiful, but beautiful on the inside as well. So if I ever had to look up to somebody and say this is exactly who I wanted to be, it would have been Sharon. There's nobody else that in this world that I've ever thought that about, only Sharon.
Physically, I mean, she had blonde hair, tall, navy blue eyes. She had a beautiful smile, but she was vivacious. I think she was very popular.
Even though we were so similar, Sharon definitely had a different outlook on life than I did. She lived life to the fullest. She was the party girl. She achieved everything she possibly could. She lived one day at a time and loved life with everything that she got. So maybe in some sort of way, you know, who knows, but she lived life differently to anybody else that I know. I'm more conservative. She was just full of fun, full of energy, grabbing every opportunity with desperation, in so to speak. She loved life. Every year, Sharon and I used to run the Knysna Marathon, and so I was in Knysna already waiting for them to arrive, and Sharon and Jamie and her best friend Nolene were in the car, and they were driving up, and just outside of Swellendam there was an ostrich that had got loose on the freeway, and they were driving up a incline, and as they approached the top of the incline they saw this ostrich, and they smashed into the ostrich, and the ostrich's body went through the windscreen, and unfortunately hit Sharon in the head, and Jamie and Nolene were fine, but Sharon got the impact as a major head injury.
I was numb at first. I really didn't take this all in, and right up until the very last. She'd always managed somehow to come through her various scrapes, and we just thought, this is another one of her little scrapes.
At that stage we thought, no, it was just a little accident, and you know, she'd got a knock on the head, but she would be fine.
Sadly, that wasn't to be. She was in a coma for 10 days.
She looked beautiful, so there was nothing wrong with her except for a slight bruising under her left eye. And that night I went there and the bruising had gone, and I said to the sister, oh, she looks wonderful, she looks beautiful, she's getting better. And the sister said to me, Lisa, maybe you don't understand, and she brought the scans to show me, and she said, I want you to see this for yourself. And she showed me the scans, and then did I realize the actual complexity and consequence of the accident. There was severe trauma there. And then I realized that maybe this wasn't going to turn out in a positive way.
She was declared brain dead on the Sunday, and that's the day that the transplants took place.
When she passed away, it was, I must admit, it's one of the most difficult things that anybody can go through, to lose somebody that you love with your whole heart and soul. So it was a tremendous devastation for us and our family and all of her friends.
Do you know, you're so numb. You overcome with grief and you can't actually believe what has happened. But somehow there's an inner strength, perhaps still in that numbness, to agree to allow Sharon's body to be used in any way it would help somebody. And I'm just very grateful that her dad and her sister Lisa had the strength, and we all united and agreed that this was the right way to go.
Once the doctors had declared Sharon brain dead, the Organ Donation Foundation approached us and said how would we feel about donating her organs. And it was a very difficult time, and I must admit, thinking, oh goodness me, what should we do? But there was a sense, and I can't really explain it, but a sense of this is exactly what we must do, you know? Something so negative and so devastating to the family, something good has to come out of this. And there was a feeling in my heart and a lightness that this was meant to be. And my dad, my mom and I discussed it, and we made our decision, and it brought something positive out of such a devastating event.
One common thread ties all donor families together: a traumatic goodbye.
He had a one-parent family, and that was his mom. His mom was mom and dad. His dad had died earlier and wasn't really involved. When his mom and dad got divorced, I think his father just more or less disappeared. So Dane
was special, and very special to Kim.
She used to say it's a one-parent household and I was the parent, so that was her outtake. Well, she's the only one that I've been with my whole life, so yeah, it's just been me and her.
Kim was in a relationship with Keith at the time, and she had said to him, you know, if anything happened to me, would you take care of it? And he said he made a promise and he wanted to honour that. And Keith has wanted to adopt him. Well, he has in a way. He stays with Keith and he's looking after his schooling and his well-being, and it's great. He's been fantastic.
It was terrifying, but I knew it was the best way. It was the decision. It was my choice to turn off the life support, and yeah, I knew it was what she would have done, what she would have wanted. So she always wanted to help people, and her donating her organs was her final way of helping the rest of the world.
Beautiful, vivacious, bubbly, a drama queen, and impulsive. She would jump into anything and do it well. She was a perfectionist. Every job she had, she would do it to the ultimate. Physically so fit.
Yeah, she was generous, very generous. And she fit like I mean, she had a six-pack that most men would die for. Very, very fit.
She always helped me in my sport. She got me started in most of my sports, and I enjoy my sports a lot. All thanks to her. She's one of the fittest people I knew. So.
The Energizer Bunny. I mean, that was her nickname with her spinning class, the spinning class and her gym class. I mean, she just had boundless energy. I've never ever seen anyone. I mean, she's probably an adult sufferer of ADD. You know, she just would never stop. She could keep going forever. We picked up the story that there'd been a transplant at about that time, and that I think it was a boy had received this heart from a female donor. And it was round about that time. I then went down to Cape Town and automatically just assumed, because Chris Barnard's involvement with Groote Schuur, that that's where it had to be. So I went and wandered around the hospital and asked questions, and it got nowhere. I was just being frustrated at every turn. No one would tell me anything, and I thought, well, this is obviously being kept like this to protect the recipient's family. And so I came away very frustrated and empty-handed. Not knowing that it was in fact not even done at Groote Schuur. I wanted to tell the person who received her heart how lucky he was. Just tell him how lucky he actually is. Because I don't think he has... I don't think he has any clue what he has beating in his chest. God, I think I see her every day. I mean, I see her in her mother. That I find scary. If in relative to her intelligence, I see it in other people. Just random. I mean, every time I see a butterfly, I mean, it was her favorite emblem. It sort of symbolized everything that she was. Every time I see a butterfly, I think of her.
It's strange to say, but you know, by being a donor, I think it actually helped us because it took away that great sadness. Both my daughter and I, my daughter's in Australia, and we felt very sad when Kim died. But she's been keeping in touch with Trevor's progress and relaying it to me. And it's taken the pain, a lot of the pain away, and put a touch of joy in, if I could say that. Actually joyous to know that there's someone living and only 16 and he's got a whole life ahead of him now, just because of our girl. It's great. Wonderful. I think maybe he was meant to get Kim's heart. He got a very good one.
Oh, what a shot.
That's not Kim living, it's her heart. And it worked for her as long as she had it. I hope it works for him as long as he has it.
The physical is something that's past. But what we actually feel and our emotional part, I haven't said farewell to that. What we have said farewell to is, in my mind, is we've lost, the body has passed on. But her memory is still within us. She's still with me in certain things. And you know what's nice is that the heart that she had, the giving, the strength, the endurance, that there still carries on in someone else. Albeit that Kim is gone, her heart and other organs that have been donated still carry on and help other people. And she had that sort of nature, and it's, I think, to help people, even though she's not here, is something that she would have been really proud of.
I don't want to detract from his happiness, you know, with any morbid thoughts, which we don't have. I'm just so happy to know that he's well and doing so well. I'd like to see him, I think. Not necessarily meet him, maybe see him from a distance and just see him doing well, which I believe he is.
I'd like to see him. As to meeting him and then keeping up a relationship with him, I don't think so. Every time I see him, I bring back memories. So, you know, I don't think, emotionally, I wouldn't like
it. I do think about the recipient. It's hard to know that part of what was me, that became my daughter, then was transplanted into somebody else. So yes, as a mother, I do think and I do care. But I don't attach any emotions as such. But we're just so grateful that, you know, this transplant was a success. We've thought about meeting the recipient, but I do feel that needs to come from the recipient. It's been 8 years now, so we've had time to get used to our grief, but I believe that we've given a gift, and I'm sure that person doesn't want to, for the rest of their lives, feel they're obliged or tied down to or committed to another family. We gave that gift with love. And if anybody from that family would like to contact us, then we're open to it, but we certainly won't pressurize anybody to meet us.
There is a quiet comfort to know that somebody has benefited from the family's decision to donate Sharon's organs. But they in no way see the transplant as an extension of her life. Her death has indeed been the final farewell.
She and Jamie had a very special spot that they used to go and sit not far away from Camps Bay, and they used to go and sit and watch the dolphins and play their didgeridoos, and that seemed an appropriate, peaceful place where she loved to be. And So we scattered most of her ashes there, and we did have some which we put under a special rose bush for her. And her father also took some ashes back to his home in Denver, where he had a little pluck made for her. So that's what we actually did. We had her cremated. We had a service for her, and there was a private cremation. So that's basically what we did. I don't think Sharon believed in memorials and things like that. So a lot of, we got so many flower tributes. About 3 of my friends actually gave us rose bushes, and we planted a little section in our garden with these rose bushes, which one is actually called Sharon's Rose, and stunningly perfumed. I feel she's with us. I do. The raw pain is gone. You can't ever forget your child, but that bitter rawness where you actually feel nauseous has eased off. In other words, possibly we've come to terms with this, but she'll always be in our hearts. We'll never ever forget her. She's with us. When we have family celebrations, we always toast her or include her, and we believe she's not far away from us. So.
Marguerite Olofse began the journey to find her donor's family, but has since preferred not to meet them. Not yet.
Look at the snow. Not happy.
No.
It does look a bit like Easter.
Yes, no, it does.
Trevor and Mareka have met the mother of Milani's donor.
It was an unbelievable moment. It was filled with silence.
Milani has not yet met her.
I would actually like to meet her. I would, but in a way I'm kind of scared. I don't know how I'd react, because it will be kind of weird. It's this part of her son is inside of me, and I think especially for her it will be weird to look at me, to talk to me, and maybe she will see something of him in me. Hopefully she'll see how thankful I am.
And as yet, Trevor Jr. has not met his donor's family. They too have chosen not to get in touch with him. There may be no contact, but they are all bound together in a way only they understand.